Welcome. This is Alexandra Cousins, and I consider myself really a liberator of humanity because life coach doesn't do it, and cellular detoxification coach also doesn't do it. And so I am fully claiming my title as liberator at this time. And you know, when I found myself sick and tired 6 years ago, with all the money in the bank, with a beautiful home, with a beautiful husband, with a beautiful family, after really years and years of doing all the spiritual work, all the self-development work, attending the courses, working with shamans, doing the yoga, doing the meditations, consistently investing in myself over and over again. And I realized that at that point, all I wanted was the answer to everything. And all I wanted was to live in bliss. I didn't care anymore about all the material things. I mean, I like them and I still do. But I just wanted to live in bliss and in connection with the divine. And I wanted to feel good in my body. Because ultimately, as much as I had worked so hard for all my stuff and our lifestyle, the reality was that I wasn't thriving in my body. I wasn't feeling like I was winning at life. And it took for my body to completely break down to the point where no doctor could help me, so that I could access that deepest knowing and desire of, I want it all. I wanted it all for me and my family. And that all was, I wanted to live in a way that was in true alignment with my soul, with my purpose. And I still wanted to earn the money that I knew my soul needed to live the life that I wanted to live. And so I went back to the drawing board, and even though I had studied nutrition for 20 years and I came from Ayurvedic studies in India, and so I really thought that I had my game down, my health game down, just as I thought that I had my spiritual game down. But going back to the drawing board and really digging deeper than ever, what I found was that the issue is in the tissue, as we like to say. I'm sure you've heard that saying. And so I began to really deeply purify and detox my body, even though, of course, my various specialists were saying, you know, that would never work to heal myself. But I did. I healed myself. Not only did I heal myself, but I healed myself beyond what I thought was possible. And through the process of healing myself beyond what I thought was possible, what I found was that I came into full alignment with Source. And as my body purified over many months of fasting and cellular detoxification, which I then ultimately specialized in, what I found was that not only did my body heal, but my whole relationship to Source and to life completely shifted. And all of a sudden, I found myself completely plugged in. And I was living with this awareness that I am divine, I am infinite. And it allowed me to really dig into living from source. And as I started to share my journey with others and started working with clients, and I saw the kind of results that my clients were getting that were similar to mine. Not only were they healing their bodies, but they were also coming into full alignment with all of life. Now, the reason for that is because when we start cleansing and purifying our bodies at the deepest level, all of our issues that have been sitting underneath all the numbing foods and the numbing emotional patterns that we have, they all come to the surface. And as they come to the surface, the traumas, the contractions, the patterns, we are able to work with them. We're able to see what is really going on a deepest level. And yes, I had done shadow work beforehand, and I had done, like I said, a lot of different modalities. And of course, it all helped, and it all kind of allowed me to get to the point where I was able to put it all together. But it was really only once I started to purify my body on a cellular level, and I eliminated the cellular obstruction, that, like a miracle, I fully came alive. And so once we purify the body, then our emotional obstructions come to the surface. And as they come to the surface and we start working through them without shame, with deepest love and compassion for ourselves and for humanity, that is when we realize that really our greatest gifts, our greatest magic lies in our shadows. It lies right there where we tend to not want to look. Right? We work all around it, because that's what I realized I did. For years and years and years, I worked around all my pains, my deepest pains, my core wounds. But the fasting and the cellular purification brought it to the surface. It brought it out of numbness into aliveness. And it allowed me to feel the depth of the pain that was actually there. And that's when I realized that actually I was playing so small, even though I had very quickly become, a very successful fashion creator, interior designer, handbag maker, fashion buyer. But that was all ego driven. And what I was hiding behind that facade was really my deepest, wildest magic. And it was the magic that I always knew I had since a child, right? It's the magic that people love me for, that people get magnetized to me for. And as I was able to bring that magic out and to allow it free reign, and I began touching people with that, and people were having results that I'm not really allowed to say here, right? Meaning they started to come into full radical aliveness. That is when I knew that I had really tapped into something big and magical and significant. And so even though I started out as a cellular detoxification coach, because I didn't know what to call it, ultimately the realization was that cellular detoxification needs to, especially at this time in humanity, needs to be at the center core of radical transformation that is needed for this planet. And so if you are at the point where you've tried it all, you've done it all, and yet you are still feeling like something is missing, whether your health is not fully online, whether your soul is not fully on fire, whether you are still not fully living from your highest purpose, whether you're still blocked in abundance, the body is the last frontier. And until we go there, if we really want to live in full alignment with our highest divinity, which I know many of you, even though you may not be able to even identify that that's what it is, I know that right now humanity is at the brink of full self-realization. And what that means is every single one of us has magic to offer. That is why we are here. That is why we came into a body. And I know that my highest mission, my highest desire, my highest joy is to liberate you to your highest magic. And I know that the missing point is deep cellular purification and regeneration, to bring you back to your highest expression of your humanity, because that is what we have lost. And that is why the world is in the state that it is in. Deepest confusion about what it really means to be human in a body. And so if you're at the point where you're saying to yourself, fuck it, I've had it, I want it all, then let's jump on a call and let me laser through all the stuff that you think is blocking you, and let's get to the core of what is really there. Because most often it is our most shameful, tucked away parts that need to be brought to the surface. And yes, we need to work through them emotionally, but ultimately the real work happens in the body through a process of cellular detoxification and cellular purification. And then we work our magic with all the other modalities that I have used for myself, including astrological timing, including trauma work, including the gene keys, so that we can really access your highest expression that you came here to birth into the world. But the fundamental of this deep transformational work is really the cellular detoxification part. And that is kind of my magic wand. And if that resonates with you, if you feel like you are ready to really dig deep, then I invite you to reach out to me and to have a call and let me show you how and where I can help you. That is my greatest delight, and especially now more than ever, because I really feel what the world needs is magic. And I know for a fact that every single one of you has incredible magic tucked away behind all your other wonderful doings that you've been doing in the world. There is something even greater, even deeper, even more powerful that is waiting to be birthed. And it is my highest joy to hold space for just that, just as I have done for myself. So with gratitude for your presence at this time, I look forward to working with you and to birthing you into your greatest version of yourself. All my love.